Welcome to Jacked Up Guitars. I'm Jake. Today we're going to talk about the Fender Made in Mexico guitars. This right here is a 1991 Fender Strat. Do not get me wrong, it is worse for wear. The guy who had it, I got it from, had stickers all over it. The neck is pretty rough. It's been played quite a bit. It has been through a lot, but it's one of my favorite guitars to play. I enjoy it, and so today I want to talk about the Fender Made in Mexico guitars, the quality of them, the history on it, and are they worth the value? Well, first thing we're going to talk about is Ensenada, Baja, Mexico. And that's where the first plant came in. Well, the first plant was about 3 hours from the Corona, California plant, about an hour and a half from the Mexican and U.S. border. They started out in 1987 in a small church. Had 5 people working there. They didn't build guitars at that time. What they were doing is they were putting strings together that came from overseas. They were putting them in packages and sending them up to California. Well, during about 1990, they had a joint venture with Fuji Gin, and Fender got together and they decided to put out guitars. Because at the time, Fuji Gin over in Japan, who was building the guitars for Fender over there, the prices were getting too high for them, so they were moving some to Korea and some staying in there in Japan. And Fender decided, okay, what can we do to make it cheaper, to build a decent guitar for quality? So Fuji Gin and them decided, okay, we'll build a plant. So they moved from the church over in 1990 to start building guitars. They sent people over from Japan and for California, and that's where these came in. Well, during that time, the first guitar I think came out in 1991, which is what this one is, a 1991 Fender Strat. And the first guitar, they built Telecasters and Stratocasters. And they did that for quite a while until there was a fire in 94, I believe. But they started out at 1991. Now, I'll talk about the fire in a few minutes. But in 91 to 94, they were making 175 guitars a day between 91 and 94. After 94, they were making 600 guitars a day. That's quite a big number, and that's come straight from the Fender website and everything at the time. And after 94, they started doing, Fuji Gin left in 1998, and they started making some Richie Sambora artist models, James Burton artist model, the Tim Stu Ham bass, and the Jimmy Vaughn, which if anybody ever picked up a guitar in most places and they're 96, most time it's a Jimmy Vaughn. And he's respectful. I mean, it's Steve Ray Vaughan's brother, and he is a very respectable guitar player, very good actually. So then in 2001 they started making amps. Well, their amps, they started making, I think the first amp they made down there was the Cyber Twin, and it was not a big success. A lot of people wasn't big into the whole digital thing, but even though they were starting to come up, a lot of people didn't want to get into them. So it was not a very good success, but so they started get back to doing other guitars, such as the Baja Telecaster, which came out in 2006, along with the Classic Player series. And after 2011, they did the Road Worn series, which was a great guitar. And I think in 2012 they started making Jackson and Charvel down there. And then in 2008 they made the Ventura series. And the Ventura series is to me, the quality is amazing. A lot of their guitars are amazing, but it's just like anything else. You do have lemons and you do have great guitars, and it's just about the setup. What I always tell somebody when they first get a Squire or even a Mexican-made Strat, is have it set up professionally. That's what makes the difference in a lot of guitars. That's what I learned when I was younger. younger, I had two guitars, and one of them played great, and the other one played like crap. And the one that played like crap was even more expensive guitar. I couldn't figure out why. And no one ever told me that, well, you know, you got to have a great setup. And that's the thing I learned. That's what we do here at Jacked Up Guitars, is we repair guitars, we paint guitars, we fix guitars, and we set them up. And so that's the thing that we've been doing for a while. And like I said, if somebody always asks, well, are they any good? Yes, they are good guitars. We're not going to doubt that. They're made quality. They have a lot of respect down there. They're made, everybody says, well, they're cheaper. Well, wood's wood, and it can be 2-ply. Most colored paint are 2 or 3 slabs put together. You know, and wood is going to make the same sound. It doesn't change. You can change the wood, like you have alder and we have basswood, but that's in almost every, even American-made guitars. Which is funny is that American-made guitars that people want now don't say American-made anymore. They say made in California, because so much of the parts are made in Mexico. So that's the whole thing I'm getting with this video, is that the quality guitar is by how it's set up. It's not about the wood, it's about the feel. Does this have little rough things? Yes, but when I go in, I'll take and sand it down, because after everybody always says, well, my guitar is really edgy across here. Well, that's because you need to have it filed, because after a while wood shrinks. Moisture comes out of a wood, and that's why older guitars have that problem. Fret spurs is what they call them. So, like I said, on a Mexican-made guitars, they are great. They're just as good as any other guitar that I've played. Like I said, I've had American, I've had Mexican, I've had from overseas quite a few guitars, and just like with the Johnny Cash model, it's Martin. It's made in Mexico. The Fender Strat here, made in Mexico. And they make very good equipment. Some of the amps I got, I've had a lot of the Hot Rod Deluxes and DeVille's, made in Mexico, very good quality. I'm not knocking it. So, you know, everybody asks me, well, would you rather have a Fender made in America, a Fender made in Mexico? I said, I just want a good playing guitar. So if you like this video, like and subscribe, and thank you for your time.